Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Now in Massachusetts, you can get your standard driver's license regardless of immigration status. Gather all required documents: proof of identity and date of birth, proof of Massachusetts residency, and proof of Social Security status. Next, register at mass.gov/myrmv for your learner's permit. When you pass, schedule your road test at mass.gov/myrmv and prepare at mass.gov/roadtest. Register today.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. And I'm smiling because I'm back on track of getting the date right. We went for about a good 6 months, always got the date right. And these last couple of weeks has been interesting. So if you've been with us on this journey for 3.5 years, you know that that's a thing here in the Java Cafe. I used to always mess up the date. But anyway, good morning, everyone. Our mayor is going to be with us in just a few moments, but just wanted to check in and see who is in the room this morning. Let me go in and say good morning to Miss Teresa, the first one in this morning. Good morning, Miss T. Good to see you in the room. Opal, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room as well. Heidi, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Sister Debbie, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Leslie, good morning to you. Good to see you. My sister Erin, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. We are going to chat with our mayor in just a few moments. Sharon Cornelius. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. My star-studded tenor. Good to see you. I did finally get the clips up from the Gospel Fest, and they are interesting if you've seen them. And if you know me from back in the days when I was in ministry and whatnot, it's you get the whole context of what happened on Sunday. But definitely a good time this weekend. Didn't we have an awesome time yesterday with Latrell Chase? Heidi, don't you start. Yes. Truly a Bernard and Bragg son, but we had a good time with Latrell Chase yesterday. Don't forget that her event is coming up on next Saturday, and you can definitely attend. I have the information right here to make sure that you are aware of the details. Did I put her link in the banner? I did not, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. But the flyer is on my page, and so you can get the information from there. But we had a great time with her yesterday. Come to find out, I had some other plans, and just something kept saying, check the dates, Jimmy, check the dates. And I'm like, oh, I got to be here on the 12th. So I will definitely be here. Don't forget, if you register, yesterday and today is the last day. If you register at the Eventbrite code, you can get $1 off of your ticket. However, you're walking away with a headshot. Java with Jimmy is a part sponsor of this event, and we are sponsoring the headshot photo booth. And so if you register, I need to figure out how to try to get the link. All right, let me see if I can figure this out real quick. Hold on. If you register, you get $1 off, and you walk away with a headshot. Let me see if I can figure this out real quick, how to transfer. Uh-oh. Is she sold out? Wait a minute. It's saying... Yo, Latrell sold out. Okay. So, there are no more tickets available. I don't know if she's going to find space or put more later, but just so y'all don't think I'm lying, Well, my phone is a mess. Sold out right there. Sold out. So shout out to Latrell Chase for selling out her event next Saturday, the networking event. We are going to be there along with some other guests supporting her. Naraki, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Dow Drumright, good to see you in the room as well. Rochelle, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Rochelle, I got to follow up with that thing that you and I talked about. Crossed my mind yesterday. And so I just need to connect with you and figure out how to make that connection or reconnect that connection. So, okay, absolutely. Our mayor just got in. I'm going to give her a second to get settled. Charlotte, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Heidi got her VIP ticket. That is awesome. Mayor, just let me know if you're ready and nod. We can we can jump right in. Mayor, you're home. You're not on the road today.
Oh my goodness. I even had to
Wait,
morning. Yesterday I was out. I left the house at 7:30 a.m., got back home after 11 p.m. It was a closing dinner for the NAACP convention, National Night Out. So this morning I got the kids off to camp, threw in all the laundry I could throw in, and then I did that Zoom thing where you only curl like the front part of your hair. So and then like ran over here.
Mayor, okay. One of the things that we're known for is, the space is where folks, we talk about humanity. You just really just was human. Your daily
don't make me turn around. Yeah.
Through the laundry. But it's funny because I can I thought a little bit of the curl was left from Saturday, because when you walked in on Saturday, I was like, ooh, the mayor is slaying. But listen, we I really like to have balance when we talk to you. I don't always we have to talk about the issues, but I also want to talk about some of the things that's good that's going on in the city. And so you let me know today, do you want to start with the issues, or do you want to start with a lot of the great things that happened this weekend with the convention? Space grants went out, White Stadium, development stuff is going on. Where would you like to start this morning, Madam Mayor?
I'm good. I mean, we have time, so let's just dive in whatever you were thinking.
Okay, so we had the convention. It wrapped up last night. It was, well, let me ask you, describe your experience with the convention with one word.
I'm still awestruck. I feel like, I'll talk about the city, but even just for me to be in that space and to feel like we had the chance as a team and as a city to host in this moment in our country, and there was a lot to celebrate. And I got to talk to lots of people from all over the country, many of whom were in Boston for the very first time, and to hear their impressions and to hear that from everyone universally, Boston felt like a really welcoming place where everyone belongs. And, obviously when you come to a convention, you don't see the majority of the geography or issues or communities, but we were hoping to make sure that we could give them a taste of at least the feeling of where our city is moving in this moment. And I think the team that worked on this from the city side, the local branch, the national board, I mean, I think we even far surpassed what I was hoping in terms of the feeling that convention goers would have about our city.
It was definitely amazing. And I want to ask you about, I think what I interpreted that may have been a personal moment for you. We were at the aquarium and the CFO of the NAACP came to you. She's of AAPI descent. Her children were there. And, we hear and talk about, we have the first elected woman mayor, the woman of color. But just for a second, can you talk a little bit about how that impacted you? Because they really looked, we see you, we love you and whatnot, but they were like starstruck and she was shaking. And so that was a personal moment for you as this example of trailblazing. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then we'll get into a little bit of the issues.
It was just to see her kids there. And that's, I think another thing that's really stuck out about this convention is that it really is a family affair.
Yeah.
People come with their partners, they come with their parents or elders, they come with their younger ones. And it was a really amazing moment, just to feel the personal connection right
Yeah.
then. I was thinking in that moment to when I was younger, and I didn't see anyone who looked like me in any of these spaces, and
Yep.
so I felt a little bit like, "Okay, maybe I could just," some days it feels hard to be pushing that boulder up the hill, but
Uh-huh.
it was like a little way stop of, "Okay, we've gone a little distance."
I wanted to just bring that out because I think oftentimes with the issues, and I've seen some stuff, Ramilda's been providing a lot of balance on Twitter about when we see stuff with the city, it's easy, and I used to do it all the time. The mayor. And so it's not that just black and white and defined. I did want to maybe mix up a little bit when I said, issues versus some of the things that's going on. While we were having the wonderful convention, I think
Mhm,
it was on Saturday to into Sunday, our friend Stacko was sharing some information. And so there is still, and I'll be honest with you, some years ago, there was a sentiment of two Bostons. And that was morely around like black and white Boston. And I woke up the next morning and we're at 50,000 receptions. But then I saw that tweet. How do we balance the progress and what we're doing and still not validating, but still hearing, because there was some chatter on social media about,
mhm,
as Word says, the mayor doesn't care, to, all these folks
mhm.
out there and our young people are dying. How do we address that with all that's going on and then all that was contained in that tweet?
Yeah, and earlier in the day, it was kinda stark for me as well, just, I had gone from my day was like convention event, convention event, convention event, kind of scattered throughout the day. And then in between, we had arranged it because there were in fact two more important events on my calendar of the services for young Ivan Pierre, the 4-year-old who was lost in the hit and run on Wood Ave, were in the morning. And then in the afternoon, there was a 1-year memorial walk for Curtis Ashford, who at 15, just barely 15 years of age, a year ago, had been robbed from his family due to gun violence as well. And so just to go from the jubilation of seeing our city with thousands, in a forum of thousands of activists from around the country, and here's where we're going and here's what we're doing, and then in both of those situations more immediately, and also the 1 year remembrance of here's how much the work matters in the
Yes.
day to day, family by family. And so that is I some of those moments are not public on purpose,
Yep.
because it is about personal pain to residents of this city, and not I feel very even torn, kind of, sometimes even going, because in a more public setting,
Yep.
because it can change the dynamic. I hope that when I go and sit with families and participate in events like this, it is to demonstrate how much they matter to the city, and then I'm going as an individual and as a person who cares and whose heart is broken, but also to show this is the official kind of representation of the entire city of Boston, remembering alongside you and standing alongside you. So, even earlier in that day, there was a lot of the kind of whiplash of how much we have to do, and at the long term, the immediate, the look back, um, and it really takes all of us. I mean, I feel that we are making more progress than I hope there's been in a little while, right? We more than doubled the size of the youth summer jobs program. We are, there's extended hours at community centers into the night, and working on the trauma response and street outreach organizational, kind of connection points and how the city supports that. Dr. Yablo, as you know, has really kind of brought a new energy and building out his team and being able to go to the next level in not just supporting families, but really connecting those dots and trying to make sure that we can be proactive in the strategies and really intentional about how we're deploying resources. And then even on the public safety side, right, I had visited the academy class with Commissioner Cox a couple weeks ago. They are the largest class that the city has had in a while because there's been so many retirements and there's need for officers who are walking the beat and in community. And not only was it striking because there were so many of them that they couldn't fit in the classrooms, like the lecture hall space at the academy. They were all kind of in at desks in the gym area to accommodate 136 soon to be officers. But when you looked out, I mean, it was an incredibly diverse group that when we got to spend an hour with them had real questions about this moment in what does policing mean? What does it mean to serve and protect the public? How do we maintain our own identities and humanity in the midst of this? I mean, so I feel really good about, again, the direction of where we're headed,
Okay.
how fast we're moving in that. I'm always impatient.
And that's one of the things I wanted to check in about. And I got to say, I had the honor. Sky had me up at the police academy with Tony Richard Sr. And I did look out, and we were talking from a community standpoint. And they did ask a lot of hard questions about the interaction and impressions and whatnot. And it is a very diverse class. To go back a little bit, Mayor, and I think I really want to use the platform I get the chance to check in with you and hear sort of the background sentiment and the humanity of what we deal with in the city. One of the questions that I'm asked, and you just kind of addressed it a little bit, is the expediency of the aggressiveness around this. And it's not so much youth violence. It is youth violence, but we know that older age group too. With Dr. Yablo, I have asked before about the cyclical of getting off. And I know you can't give an exact date, but when do you think that I don't even know how to frame this. The aggressive because there's a transition with the street workers, the community centers and whatnot. Some of the folks that are participating in this activity, they're not going in community centers. We can extend the hours till 3 a.m.
That's right.
And so where is that urgency, or where is that work on a lie of the street workers between SSYI and Roy and them, just to give a little bit on that, and then we'll go into some of the other things that's been going on the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So the transition in terms of street outreach team SOAR over to a new program at the Boston Public Schools that had a ton of interest. So a lot of amazing qualified applicants, even above and beyond. I think what the team was expecting to see in terms of interest and numbers of resumes that were put forward. So it showed to me that the awareness is there, the faith in wanting to kind of be in this field and right now feels like a little bit of a shift compared to even a couple years ago or a year ago when it felt the opposite, that people were exhausted and leaving and just not feeling like they would get supported in these roles. And so that was affirming to see that the kind of morale and energy is shifting.
Okay.
There's a group that is going to be based in the SSYI program and VIP. They're going to continue their efforts. And so Dr. Yablo is basically overseeing these efforts and is going to be very closely involved.
I heard you say something that some of those folks will absorb within SSYI maybe to do the work. That is good to hear. I won't go too deep into that, but that list, or that, I don't want to say list, that folks that receive services from the SSYI program complemented with some of those folks that's going. Okay. Now, I didn't know that.
And I will say, and we are bulk in this last city budget that was approved about a month ago. We are also bulking up the investments in BHA public safety directly.
Yeah.
And so you see when you look at the map of where the concentration of incidents tends to happen, it does map sometimes onto BHA developments or areas that are nearby. And it's often not residents of the developments who are participating in that, but it tends to be different spaces. So one thing I should mention also is that we're really thinking about the place and the space as being really important to safety as well. So the public works team, just as they have been involved heavily in mass and cast as a way to just shift the dynamic, and compared to before, when it not only looked on a day-to-day basis like people didn't care because the city didn't care because the garbage was accumulating and wasn't being swept, and that was fostering rodents and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
The sense of physical place really matters. And so as we're working towards more kind of breaking down silos, public works is working hand in hand with Isaac, with BPD, to say, okay, in this location we're going to clear back the bushes with the parks department, or we're going to fix the lighting here, or there's no reason why this sidewalk should look how it looks. And it just kind of fosters a sense that this is a space that people aren't paying attention in the city and don't care about in the city. And everywhere we're kind of bringing all of those approaches, the person-based, place-based, behavior-based.
It is it for those that may think, that's not important and that's not enough. It is. It's an influence on quality of life. It really is where you see and how you think the investment is. Mayor, I'm kind of jumping all over the place.
Yeah,
You
go.
got a little time. And so you mentioned Mass and Cass. I drove past there the other day. And it's interesting because 2 or 3 days can be a difference. I drove by there one day, and I think it's up in Atkinson. What's going on up in there? Just the what people are dealing with in there. We know that unfortunately there's some bad actors up in there too, supplying the demand of those that are dealing with addiction. But then the other day I rode down, I think it was Mass Ave, and they're kind of back on the sidewalk across from BFD.
Mhm.
And so I know Summer's here, and where are we with Mass and Cass? I know
Yeah.
almost every time you're on, I ask you about this, but
Yep.
this is an ongoing daily. People are dealing with the Clifford Park and
Yep.
whatnot. And so where are we with that?
Yeah, this is the issue that I feel like we've been pouring a lot into, and I have to make a judgment call that we need to reorient and really find the approach that's going to make a big difference. And even when you say a couple days, it can look really different. Sometimes that's because it's the time of day that you went on each of those days, because every single day now there's intense street cleaning where everyone is asked to pick up their belongings and move to a different location while the street is entirely power washed down and scrubbed down. And so that's why there's a little bit of movement around the area. It also means that kind of, again, the items aren't getting lost in what looks like people don't care and the city
Yep.
doesn't care. So overall, I will say that in the last month or so, especially in the last couple weeks, it has gotten to a new level of public safety alarm.
Okay.
And I will say this is not our own kind of visual judgment or anything like that. This is from people on the ground who have been there every single day. So usually it's our Boston Public Health team. Their outreach workers are there. Our Boston Police Street Outreach Unit is there, who are trained in behavioral health and outreach. And then several teams, Pine Street Inn, Victory Pro. There's other nonprofit partners who also have staff who are working on outreach and connecting people with services. All of the non-city teams have said in the last few weeks, the situation has gotten so dangerous that we are pulling our people out. We cannot be in there. And I've done ride-alongs now with BPD in that area just to really hear what's happening. We've met with the team at all different levels, and it's very different when I think everybody across the board, from law enforcement to public health to EMS, everyone sees this as a medical issue, that people are very ill and need services. At the same time, it's a completely different dynamic to talk to someone about getting services and taking that next step when they're in a small group setting or one-on-one compared to when they're in a crowd of more than 200 people with
Okay.
lots of other activities happening. And so the tents are continued to be a challenge because you can't see inside. And that's frankly where
A
some of
lot of
the trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and violence is taking place. The storage of weapons potentially, and so we're planning to take a a major step, I think, in um, trying to make sure that we are addressing that properly and supporting our law enforcement side with the ability to better maintain public safety because it's gotten to the point where even those who are experts and do this every single day have said it's reached a new level that is untenable.
Do you know, Mayor? And I just thought about this as we're talking now in this conversation. What, because you hear often, this didn't happen overnight and it's a result of, years of the opioid crisis. Like, what is, like, if you could, in your snap your finger tomorrow, would it be the Long Island Bridge? Would it be Long Island where treatment and stuff used to go on? I know ultimately that people wouldn't have take that whatever time in their life that first incident happened. Ultimately, that would be the ultimate wish. But it's so, this is not just Boston. In San Francisco, I'm seeing stuff and whatnot. From your
Mhm, mhm.
just talking to other mayors and whatnot and talking to the experts, what is that thing that will just either, you put folks in a place where they can get treatment. I don't want to say forced treatment. Like, what is that thing that just will break the cyclical? Like, you can't demand, that people leave and go. Like, and this isn't real time, Mayor, that I'm asking this.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, it's really hard because when you think about it from just like a person by person question, we have that figured out. We know what any
Yes. Yeah.
individual needs,
Yeah.
and we have actually helped support that for hundreds of individuals at this point at the city level between housing that is low threshold, 24-hour medical support, job counseling, case management. We have seen dozens of now nearly half of the people who were originally at Mass and Cass when I came into office and took this on are not only gone through transitional housing, but all the way to permanent housing because they have changed their lives. And if you talk to, maybe we should coordinate. So I don't know if Tanya Del Rio's been on the show at all, but
Yep.
she says it is the hardest work in the world, but it's worth it because you get the chance to see when people have turned that corner through the housing or and the connection, they come back and it looks like they're a different person, just glowing and healthy. And it's anyway, so person by person, we know what we need, but the challenge is at this point, the city of Boston has served more than 400 people through our, even though there were 200 residents when I first came into office, overall, we've served more than 400 people in this, and hundreds more people have arrived in Boston from all around the region and all around the country, frankly. And so I was having a conversation about this confluence of challenges with another elected official I met at the convention from the West Coast, and they were saying similarly that when you are a major city, and when you're the only city in a certain
Yep.
radius that is trying and providing services, it just everyone comes because there are so few opportunities to access that kind of support in other places near to where they might originally be from or have family and have connections. So I think absolutely the Long Island Bridge, and in fact we're getting really close to, I hope, finishing the permitting on that, and we're going to charge straight forward into both redoing the bridge and the buildings at the same time so they can open it as quickly as possible. That will need to fit into the recovery continuum between what happens when people are very medically vulnerable and what steps they have to take, and then where they, their recovery when they're a little bit more stabilized and can
Yep.
be a bridge ride away from the major hospitals. That will make a difference for the entire region. But we also just, no single city can solve this because the better that any city gets at it, the more that they are, then the faster they have to try to expand their services, and it's just not possible.
It's almost I'm trying to articulate this in the right. It's almost like oh, what is the way to you can't get ahead in a sense. And
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
about human beings and people.
yeah.
But I asked that, Mayor, because it just gives folks a peer view into it's not just what's going on. The mayor sees it and doesn't care. No, there are a whole lot of facets, not just with mass and cast, but violence and as well. And it's not capped, but I thank you for diving just a little bit deeper. And what I heard from you was if we had enough folks to be able to put one-on-one with
Mhm,
enough street workers to one-on-one, and it's
mhm,
not one conversation, so they would need to be out there like for a couple of
mhm,
weeks.
mhm.
And so that goes back to the
But
humanity.
can I say something about this also? Because it's not just that when there's 200 people, if we had 200 street workers, it
Yep,
would be good. It's the crowd dynamic that makes it very difficult. And the other point of data that I think is relevant here is that we do end up talking to everyone who is there in some form or fashion, whether someone is willing to get help, whether they're in a space where they can process what is
that part.
kind of the options. It's very different when you look around and you're surrounded by hundreds of other people who are partaking in this illness and its effects. But the majority of people who are there during the day have housing. Many of them are in the housing units that the city of Boston has created, and so there's still this draw for the drug trafficking
Yep,
and some of this other activity that's happening. And so we are going to need to take some steps. We're looking ahead. Part of being in this job is there's so much coming at us every single day, but you have to find the time to think 3 months ahead, 6 months ahead, because to do the big things, that's how long it takes to actually move the pieces.
yeah,
And now's the moment to plan for when the weather gets cold again and when it gets really dangerous on the street. And so we're going to be trying to move in this short, immediate window to either advance legislation or take some steps. In part, need to talk to the city council and other community members, but we have to get going on a different approach.
absolutely. I want to give time to talk about some of the good things. And this is good as far as breaking down and getting to that progress. Again, we didn't get here overnight. It's not going to change overnight. One last thing I'll ask you about, and I've actually reached out to Chief Masso, and we'll talk about it a little bit deeper. But we had a few hot days, and in
Mm,
those hot days, a couple of media outlets, a couple of community folks put out that some of the pools. Can you just talk very little? We'll go deeper with Chief Masso because he,
yeah.
if you know him, he said we're doing what we're supposed to do.
This is
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's funny. He has at any given time, he has his list, his, like, top 5 things that he
yep,
needs to get done, and pools has been on that list from the very beginning. Um, so I'm actually really proud of the team. Um, it again, it kind of feels, I always feel emotionally torn about trying to celebrate the good that we're
yeah,
doing, because in the
yep,
context of everything, it still feels like there's so much to do.
yep.
But I think it is important to make sure people know where we were exactly, what we inherited
Okay,
and what has been done to be, at this point. The city has not invested in our pools for decades, right? And it makes sense, right? I get it. There are so many things to do and address, and it's not, you don't get a news article or a new headline by saying I put $10,000 into annual maintenance to
yep.
just make sure something could last.
Be proactive.
Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
but for someone else 10 years down the line, this will make a difference. So everything is kinda disincentivized in politics to focus on the long term and to do the kind of nitty-gritty things that don't get attention.
Yep.
But then that means at some point when there's a later group, and especially if that group is kind of, mostly people of color, et cetera, like, all the eyes come out. And it is a time where, the heat issues, there's just for multiple reasons, the urgency is very obvious right now, even though had things gone differently before, we would have had less need for such urgency. And so that's why I signed up for the job. That is what gets me excited to do this work in maybe a little bit twisted way every day of like, I want to do those hard things. And so we have 18 pools that are BCYF pools. There's an additional, I think 2 or 3 that are BPS pools within a school. And those are a separate conversation. But basically, we have gotten more pools fixed up and online than at any point in recent history in Boston. 2 more pools came online this year because of major renovations that we kind of made sure happened. And there's a batch more that are in construction now that we kicked off as soon as we had come into office in our administration. The challenge in this moment with the count is that there are also fixes going on at certain Boston public schools that are in the same building as BCYF pools. And so because that work to fix the school could only happen during the summer when the students weren't there, it has taken the 2 pools offline that actually are perfectly good. And we couldn't find a way to manage the construction at the school so that it wouldn't impact the pool. And it's really unfortunate, but we have to fix basically everything right now.
Yep.
And so we're working our way through as fast as we can. What has been almost completely fixed is in the last couple years, there were pools that were physically sound, but couldn't be opened because we didn't have enough lifeguards.
Okay.
Chief Masso, because he's been a lifeguard, he knows this so well. And we have our labor team had negotiated all the contracts and tried to just right size some of the incentives and the compensation. So we're actually at a really healthy place in terms of the workforce, and lifeguards has not been an issue. They're incredible and they're working hard. We're creating more opportunity for our young people and community members to earn that compensation and help make sure our pools are functioning. But so this is now purely just a kind of infrastructure issue. There's some pools that the filtration system is totally broken now that it's so old and it's just not cleaning the water properly. There's some pools that the water is leaking through the foundation and it's going to get worse and worse if we don't fix it. So come next year, even later this calendar year, we should be able to get a couple more of those pools that are in renovation and construction done. And so by next year, I think we'll start to see really major progress.
Thank you for that clarity. And Michael is in the background. Get ready to get me. I do want to just give an opportunity. Which one do I want to do first? Space grants. Just quick synopsis. I think it was 2 million. 2 million 3. There's a 6 in there. I seen a cool's picture with the check and whatnot. A cool rather. So space grants very quickly.
So the first round of grants to support small businesses in filling up vacant spaces in the city went out. It's an amazing batch of businesses. Some of them are expanding into now a second or multiple or additional location.
Yep.
Some of them are just an idea that are starting out. And it's how we want to design these programs. And this is really Chief Idobu's kind of vision and genius, is that it's not just about handing over a check and saying, okay, you need to do something, we give you this money. It's a really kind of, we're going to support everything you need, wherever we can bring in contacts for design or technical support. We've wrapped in the business associations from BECMA to the Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Boston Business Association, AIM. And so they have free membership in those groups, and they're also getting kind of matchmaking for their spaces and other supports. And so we will, it's a win-win for everyone. We'll see many of these spots are aiming towards high traffic areas like downtown. The kind of thinking behind this was that's where businesses can earn the most revenue.
Yep.
It's also, we've traditionally, I think as a city thought, okay, Black-owned business, why don't we open up in Roxbury or Dorchester, Madison? Newbury Street, hello, downtown, Seaport. So, with our businesses deserve to be everywhere, and we are seeing a lot of success already.
You sound like Conan Harris. Our businesses deserve to be everywhere. His is we belong everywhere. I know they're going to kill me. Gospel Fest. Did you at any point get a chance to see the clip of what I will say is your choir?
No, will you send it to me?
I will send you a clip, but I can show you a clip real quick if I here. It's always whenever I'm trying to get something together, Mayor, the tech always never wants to work with me, but I think I got this one ready for you real quick, and then I will let you go so Mike and them don't get me. But I will say that one thing that you missed was, and Mayor, it hit me So we had the choir sing. The sopranos sang the soprano note. The altos did. Mayor, the whole pavilion was singing. And it just was, and I'm feeling chills thinking about it now. It just was representative of Tanisha talked about the convention, what it brought as a snapshot and a spotlight. Hearing I looked out there, the choir was behind me, and the whole, not the whole city, but representation from the whole city, young, old, black, white, male, female. It was crazy. All right, so let me just get this here because Michael is going to get me, and I don't want to get in trouble. So I think I have the sound here. I think we're good. Here is just a little clip of the Mayor's Gospel Fest Community Choir. This is your first time seeing it, so.
You got the mic. You got the mic.
So Mayor, that was it. How do I stop it? Hold on. So and Michael just texted me and said next time put up the clip of Jessica. So we had Jessica sang and was in the alto section, but I just wanted to end with that clip there. And just, I always like to go out on a good note, but I just wanted you to see that because that was also, we had young, old, black, white, and just a wide variety and diverse group of folks there in the choir. And so thoughts on the clip, and now I'll let you go. Michael, you can get me later.
It's amazing. I mean, there's nothing like the joy of music and movement and faith. And so there's nothing like it. And I'm really glad that it was a huge venue, amazing lineup, and
they want so there's a little chatter. Shagun and John, y'all call him John, I say Matt. Folk were happy at the pavilion. We thought folks were going to push back. Folks were happy. You could get the food, and like it was there's a little
I heard our some of our seniors arrived in style too with the Mercedes-Benz.
They had a whole track of buses and vans. Okay, Michael's going to kill me. He said we got to go. She's late now to a meeting. So Mayor, I appreciate you. Thank you for the time here with us today. We'll figure out how to go back into this next month. I'll send you the clips. Michael, I appreciate you, brother, and the whole press team and everybody, and Phil and everybody there. See y'all later. Mayor, love you. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon. Yo. Fred Hammond said Boston was lit. Okay. Carl Jefferson, yes, keep it right there. Add the free buses from churches to get the elderly without cost. Listen, I'll be honest. I left after the choir sang. I did the sing and leave. And y'all group in church, y'all know we're not supposed to do that. And so I had to go change to go to a reception. I wound up going back down there. On the way back down there, over on the side of the Seaport, one of those side streets, age strong vans, coach buses, I want to say party buses. Yo, the seniors did go out in style. And there's a joke. If you've ever worked in the city, have been to Gospel Fest more than 2 or 3 times, the seniors do not play. I had people that were in the choir that had good seats. A couple of them was like, yeah, I'm going to go sit over in the senior section. So anyway, I hope today that you all experience the balance between, yes, we address the issues, but we also have to allow our leaders, municipal leaders, elected leaders, to also talk about a balance of the other things that they're working on. That is a ridiculous, I don't envy her position in no way, shape, or form. People running around if I was the mayor, you get in and all the onion is peeled back and everything is revealed of what's going on. And so it's not a cap again, but it is really real. So we appreciate her coming in and chatting with us every month. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for Thankful Thursdays. You will be with just me tomorrow. We'll do some more Gospel Fest and NAACP recaps. And I think that's it for me this morning. It is 9:48. We're supposed to be on quick shots for the summer. And so I agree, Pastor Marion. She is working. And thank you for your point up here. We have a city park next to our church with the sprinkler system. I give the city props because last year when the system went bad, the city came out, dug it up. We piped and fixed it. And so that, all right, I'm not going to get in trouble. I think Charlotte was talking to the mayor and not me. So with that being said, Nicole, good morning. Good to see you in the room. You had a driver. You getting out there driving? All right, Nicole, keep us abreast. And let us know, because when you get on the road, I'm going to get off. No, sir, I'm messing. I swear I'm messing. Sharon said, I went and sat with the clergy. Because the clergy and elected officials had the best seats right there in the middle. But anyway, I'm getting off of here. We will see you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And Sister Debbie said, sounds good. I love the choir ensemble. They did good. They really did good. I didn't know they did that well. And I saw and heard the video. I said, oh my God, it was balanced. The harmony was tight. They sound like old school church. All right. Sharon in the front row, of course. So the clip doesn't show what Sharon wore. Sharon had on a black pair of jeans and sparkles on her jeans. And I'll just leave that there. Love you, Mother Sharon. What I call her? Church Mother Diva. That's what I call her, Church Mother Diva. All right, folks, I got to get off of here. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Have a great day. And